Hi, welcome to my video. I'm just sitting on a coffee table. I don't currently have an abundance of furniture. I was going to film this like walking outside, but then my phone camera crapped out, so I guess we're doing it in here. Um, this project, this video, is made to examine what I've learned about myself over the progress of this course. It's been interesting, and I feel like I'm at a phase in my life where I'm learning a lot about myself, generally speaking. So it's a good time for it. So I'll just kind of go through sort of by module, sort of as stuff comes to mind. I have some notes. I hope that's okay. Uh, so the first thing I've learned was that it was good to put it into words. I have a fairly authoritative leadership style. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of this leadership style, but I think there's a time and a place for it. I believe that in my experience, people who find it constructive and find it positive will seek it out. And so as long as you're not like trying to push it in a context where it's not appropriate or not the most suitable, it's fine. And I believe a lot of people like it and they look for it. Uh, but that said, I have to be very cognizant of like how much I'm letting that show, because I have to be cognizant. I have to be self-aware of how people see me. That's been an area of personal growth in my life that I have, in the past few years, really made a lot of progress on. And so continuing to do that, putting it in the framework of what's my leadership style and stuff is interesting. I'm also quite utilitarian, uh, and again, I believe that has its place. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of it, but I believe it has its place. Um, though I don't believe it's the only way to do things. Just like I believe my leadership style definitely, like my preferred leadership style, that is, definitely isn't appropriate in every context. Um, so is like being really utilitarian. That's not appropriate in every context either, even though it's what I default to. And so again, I have to be aware of that, and I have to make sure that I'm only doing that in environments where it's wanted or where it's necessary, and also that I really respect. I already like it I already felt this way, but it reminded me that I really respect other people's leadership styles. I really, because I don't believe that my way is the only way to do things. In fact, I think that nothing would, if everyone only did something one way, nothing would ever work. Like if everyone was like utilitarian like me, everything like the whole system would collapse. But if everyone was really laissez-faire like some other people, that wouldn't work either. Balance is achieved in a community or in a society with different people, uh, you know using their different strengths and collaborating. That sounds kind of cheesy, but I really believe that. And so that's something that's definitely been emphasized to me, is that I have to really value people who have different leadership styles than me. And I already did, but I didn't really think about it in this way. I didn't uh, think about it in such a direct way before, and so that was something this course gave me that was kind of valuable. Uh, for instance, like an example would be like I've been like a summer camp counselor before, and definitely like I was always kind of the mean one, and then someone else would be the nice one, and that worked, right, because they weren't scared of me. I wasn't like sadistic mean. I wasn't, I didn't do anything unkind, but like I was kind of the one they were a little bit scared of, and so that and then so someone who I was working with would be kind of the more easygoing one, and we'd balance out because they'd open up to the other person a little more, but they'd obey me. Um, I don't know. That's kind of an example. I don't really intend to work with kids though in my career, but I felt that was kind of a good example of what I mean when I say that there's a place for it and that you have to collaborate. Um, Definitely when I've helped like people out like on a casual basis, like with fitness stuff, the people who ask me to give them advice and stuff, they know I'm going to be kind of brutal, and they're asking me because of that. Uh, and they they're looking for that. So yeah. Um, but yeah, being really aware of other people's ethical standards, uh, and just having it emphasized to me that I need to be really aware of other people's ethical standards was really eye opening for me. I feel like that was a really valuable lesson that I got from this. Uh, yeah. What else? Oh yeah, and especially like when in decision making, like this thing talked a lot about constructive conflict, which I thought was a very interesting term. I agree with it. I'd never had it put that way before. Uh, Often I think people do view conflict as like a problem that needs to be solved, and that's kind of me as well. I tend to, this is an area for growth, I tend to default to seeing any issue like just maybe just the symptoms of an issue as the problem rather than the actual problem. For instance, like if someone I know is upset, like say they're like, they're acting visibly upset, I'm like, oh, you're upset. That's a problem. How can I fix it? Can I buy you a cookie? uh, and so definitely an area for personal growth for me is like going like deeper and addressing like actual problems, like in a professional context too. Like say I wanted to open my own business one day, and like you need to be able to foster constructive conflict with the people you're working with rather than just like getting annoyed at each other and you know just putting band-aid solutions on issues and letting them fester. Okay, and the module on servant leadership. For me, that was a real callback, actually, to my past. I'd actually had that concept taught to me, like, drilled into my head as a teenager. The whole concept of servant leadership in some things that I'd done at the time, and I was relieved to see that skill set was still there. Like it was still very easy for me to get back into that mindset. Withdrawal comes very, very easily to me. In fact, maybe a bit too easily. But also, like fostering community building is something that I'm very passionate about in many aspects of my life, not just in terms of fitness. In terms of some like, unrelated activism work and stuff I've done too. Uh, and something that kind of draws me to this profession is the idea of like fostering, individual empowerment and fostering community. And to do that, you need to have the mindset of a servant leader, and you need to be able to kind of take a step back and disconnect yourself. Um, and, obviously there's always room for improvement, but I feel like at the moment that's an area I'm strong in, and I was reminded that that's an area I'm kind of strong in. So that was nice. And yeah, I guess I'll finish off with what I said about wanting to empower other people. Um, that's for me. That's a big thing, and it definitely like something I've always recognized is you can't individually teach. Like it's like that old saying of like you know. You give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish and you feed him forever. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. Um, so withdrawal, servant leadership is important, but also what's very important and definitely a big area for personal growth for me. Though I have recognized this for a while. I have been working on it for a while. Is being mindful in the moment, not allowing yourself to run on autopilot, and that's not just a useful thing in your professional life, but uh, yeah, you see a whole bunch of clients, so many people come through the gyms, and like to an extent, if you want to, I feel like if I want to be good at this job, with like every single one of them, I have to, yeah, you have a formula you go through, but like I have to be present to some degree. I have to really be in that moment with them, and be like invested in that way. And that's because I believe that otherwise it would be quite hard uh, to help someone sort of find the tools they need to empower themselves personally, regardless of what that looks like if that's just, a brief consultation, or if that's working with them for years. Yeah, that's 10 minutes. I think I've covered everything. Yeah, I hope you liked my video, and I've enjoyed this course, so thank you very much.